Knowing the right strategies to defeat a boss isn't easy, and there's only so much trial and error you can do before looking it up. And that's the beauty of the internet. Someone, somewhere has figured this fight out, and it's smooth sailing for you. Well, probably. Let's take a look at 15 bosses we wouldn't have easily defeated had it not been for the internet. Batman Arkham City, Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is easily the best boss fight in the Batman Arkham series. Using a method to whittle his health down only for him to develop a countermeasure to that is awesome. However, in New Game Plus, you need to use not one, not two, but 11 different methods to ultimately take him down. In that sense, having sources that outline each and every method is just perfect, if for nothing else than saving time from trial and error. Two Worlds, Final Boss. Let's be honest, Two Worlds is a pain to play, so why not just beat the final boss at the very beginning and save yourself the torture? Encountered at the beginning, the final boss can be aggroed and led to the nearby village. Sure, he'll kill you, but then all of the villagers will attack him, eventually overwhelming and killing him. Meanwhile, you've just respawned and are enjoying the show before cutting to the ending. Destiny 2 Forsaken, Riven. Now that auto-reloading has been effectively removed from the game, players of Destiny 2 Forsaken will need to beat Riven of the Last Wish raid legit. Make no mistake, even now you need a detailed guide for taking down the Ahamkara, from calling out symbols and shooting eyes to splitting teams and eventually bringing Riven's heart back for cleansing. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Ishin the Sword Saint. Ishin the Sword Saint is the ultimate fight in Sekiro Shadows Die Twice with 3 phases, multiple weapons, and tons of pain to dish out. His third phase is arguably the worst thanks to his lightning attacks, gunfire, and spear. While knowing exactly how to counter the lightning is important, there are other things worth crediting the internet for. How else would we have known that the last phase is easily beaten by simply running away until Ishin uses his jumping spear attack, leaving him open to an attack? Repeat this ad nauseum for an easy win. Code Vein, Cannoneer, and Blade Bearer. Code Vein's version of Ornstein and Smo isn't nearly as terrifying, but it's still pretty tough. The Cannoneer will assault you with fire damage, while the Blade Bearer deals ice damage. It could seem tough at first, but the best answer is the most obvious, using the Artemis class's ice armor and Dark Knight class's fire protection. Deal with the Blade Bearer first, avoiding her ice pillars and combos, and the Cannoneer should go down soon after. Borderlands 2, Terramorphous the Invincible. When you first receive this mission, you're told that it's a level 50 raid boss, which is supposed to be serious, but hey, no harm in checking it out, right? Unfortunately, Terramorphous the Invincible will utterly stomp you even if you're close to its level. Forget bringing 4 people to fight. If you immediately run straight to the elevated rocks in the arena and hide behind them though, the fight becomes easier. Not a cakewalk without awesome weapons, mind you, but a lot easier. Metal Gear Solid 3, The End. If there's any boss that could set us on edge, it was The End from Metal Gear Solid 3. This is essentially a sniper battle against an opponent that's difficult to spot, can easily spot you, and tranquilizes you with ease. However, thanks to the internet, it was discovered that waiting a week in real time would cause the end to pass on, something made even easier by setting your system clock ahead by a week. Even better, you could snipe the end earlier in the game at a certain point, bypassing the fight entirely. Nioh, Dragon of the North, Date Masamune. At first, Date Masamune can seem annoying, then he'll activate Living Weapon and effectively ruin your life. While you could fight around his attacks and somehow survive, there is a much easier way to deal with him. It involves dispelling his living weapon with Moment Talismans and Guardian Spirit Talismans, since they summon Guardian Spirits to deal damage. Using kicks also helps to drain his meter, so working those in and knowing when to attack while he's open is key. Killzone 2, Colonel Mail Radek. You wouldn't have thought Radek to be a massive pain in the final fight, but alas, here we are. His constant respawning troops can be annoying, but there are a few ways to make this fight more manageable. By sticking to the statue of Visari, you can negate a lot of grenades and bullets. Sniping Radek when upstairs is essential, since this will cause him to run, leaving the other Helghast as easy pickings. Knowing when to move around and deal with enemies while having time to snipe Radek is essential. Zelda 2 Dark Link. Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link didn't mess around with its difficulty, which is all the more apparent when facing Dark Link. How can you possibly defeat an opponent that mirrors your moves? As it turns out, very easily. See the left side corner of the arena? Just stick to that. Dark Link's AI won't know what to do and simply keep charging, letting you stab him with ease. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Lingering Will. The optional boss of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix also happens to be the toughest in the game. That is, unless you have the Fenrir with its high attack strength and unique ability Negative Combo, which makes finishers pop up more often. Spamming jump attacks against Lingering Will leads to its demise relatively quickly. Is it cheese? Yes, but it works, and we have the internet to thank for it. Hollow Knight Troop Master Grimm. The Grimm Troop was Hollow Knight's first DLC, and Troop Master Grimm was easily one of the more aggravating fights. He moves and disperses quickly, making it tough to attack at the right time. However, if you happen to abuse the charm interaction of Weaver Song and Grub Song, which creates 3 Weaverlings that deal 3 damage per hit and grant 3 soul, you can attack Grimm non-stop from a safe distance. Fury Bernard. If you're good enough to beat Fury's bosses, including the Flame in the One Last Fight DLC, you'll have the chance to face Bernard. And make no mistake, Bernard will rip you apart. He has 9 phases in total, and on top of dealing heaps of damage, you don't get any health drops. So how do you beat him? Hilariously, by knowing all of the other boss's moves. Each of Bernard's phases sees him using the attacks of a specific boss. Knowing which boss aligns with which phase and the ways to beat them will work here. Bloodborne Ludwig the Accursed. Knowing how to beat Ludwig the Accursed is a matter of knowing where to dodge during certain attacks, which sounds elementary for pretty much every Soulsborne boss, but even more so in this case. Using fire paper and beast blood pellets will help, as will being careful in his second phase, and not getting hit by his massive AoE attack when he becomes Ludwig the Moonlight Blade. Cuphead Dr. Call's Robot. In many ways, Dr. Call's Robot is perhaps the toughest fight in the entire game, unless you get unlucky and have to fight every single one of King Dice's bosses. The 3 main weak points, the head, chest, and stomach, each have different annoying attacks, and they transform once destroyed. Knowing which ones to destroy first is important, but nothing can quite prepare you for the subsequent phases, especially the bullet hell phase with Emerald. While we'd encourage experiencing the fight for yourself, it might not be a bad idea to see a few runs beforehand to know what to parry, where to dodge, and how to avoid some of the more aggravating attacks. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from Gaming Bolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.